Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. You lock the screen? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nastaprayeshu Abhadreshu Na Janmanunam Mahato Na Saubhagam Na Janmanunam Mahato Na Saubhagam Nava na buddhi na kriti stosha hetu Nava na buddhi na kriti stosha hetu Tairyad vishrishtan apina vanaukashas Tairyad vishrishtan apino vanaukashas Chakara sakye bata lakshmana graja Chakara sakye bata lakshmana graja Na janmanunam mahato na saubhagam Na janmanunam mahato na saubhagam Navana buddhir na kritista shahetu Navana buddhir na kritisto shahetu Tairyad vishrishtan apino vanaukashas Tairyad vishrishtan apino vanaukashas Chakara sakye bata lakshmana graja Chakara sakye bata lakshmana graja Na, not Janma. Birth in a very polished aristocratic family. Nunam, indeed. Mahataha, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Na, nor. Saubhagam, great fortune. Na, nor. Vak, an elegant manner of speaking. Na, nor. Buddhihi, sharpness of intelligence. Na, not. Akritihi, features of the body. Tosha hetuhu. The cause of pleasure to the Lord. Taihi. By all these above mentioned qualities. Yat. Because Vishrishtan. Rejected. Api. Although. Na. As. Vana okashaha. The inhabitants of the forest. Chakara. Accepted. Sakhye. In friendship. Bata. Alas. Lakshmana Agraja. Lord Sri Ramachandra, the elder brother of Lakshmana. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. One cannot establish a friendship with the Supreme Lord Ramachandra on the basis of material qualities such as one's birth in an aristocratic family, one's personal beauty or one's eloquence, one's sharp intelligence or one's superior race or nation. None of these qualifications is actually a prerequisite for friendship with Lord Sri Ramachandra. Otherwise, how is it possible that although we uncivilized inhabitants of the forest have not taken noble births, although we have no physical beauty, and although we cannot speak like gentlemen, Lord Ramachandra has nevertheless accepted us as friends? Purport. In a prayer to Krishna expressing her feelings, Srimati Kunti Devi called him Akinchana Gochara. The prefix A means not, and Kinchana means something of this material world. One may be very proud of his prestigious position, material wealth, beauty, education, and so on. But although these are certainly good qualifications in material dealings, they are not necessary for achieving friendship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One who possesses all these material qualities is expected to become a devotee. And when he actually does, the qualities are properly utilized. Those who are puffed up by a high birth, wealth, education, and personal beauty, Janmaishwarya Shruti Shibi, unfortunately do not care for developing Krishna consciousness, nor does the Supreme Personality of Godhead care about all these material qualifications. The Supreme Lord is achieved by devotion. Bhaktyamama Bijanati. One's devotion and sincere desire to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead are the only qualifications. Rupa Goswami has also said that the price tag for achieving God's favor is simply one's sincere eagerness to have it. Laulyam ekam mulyam. In Chaitanya Bhagavata it is said, Kulavecha sevakera dekha bhagya sima Brahma Shiva kandeyara dekhiya mahima. Dhane jane panditye Krishna nahi pai kevala bhaktirar vasa Chaitanya Gosani. Behold the great fortune of the devotee Kulavecha. Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva shed tears upon seeing his greatness. One cannot attain Lord Krishna by any amount of wealth, followers, or learning. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is controlled only by pure devotion. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had a very sincere Dhara, and whose only business was to sell pots made of the skin of banana tree. Whatever income he had, he used 50% for the worship of Mother Ganges, and with the other 50%, he provided his necessities. On the whole, he was so very poor that he lived in a cottage that had a broken roof with many holes in it. He could afford brass utensils, and therefore he drank water from an iron pot. Nevertheless, he was a great devotee of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is a typical example of how a poor man with no material possessions can become a most exalted devotee of the Lord. The conclusion is that one cannot attain shelter at the lotus feet of Lord Sri Krishna or Sri Chaitanya Gosani through material opulence. That shelter is attainable only by pure devotional service. Anyabilasita shunyam jnana karmadi anavratam anukulyena Krishna anusilanam bhaktir uttama. one should render transcendental loving service to the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna favorably and without desire for material profit or gain through fruitive activities or philosophical speculation. That is called pure devotional service. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Akshurunmitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamsya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Krupa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama. Please repeat after me. One cannot establish a friendship with Supreme Lord Ramachandra on the basis of material qualities such as one's birth in an aristocratic family, one's personal beauty, one's eloquence, one's sharp intelligence, or one's superior race or nation. None of these qualifications is actually a prerequisite for friendship with Lord Sri Ramachandra. Otherwise, how is it possible that although we uncivilized inhabitants of the forest have not taken noble births, although we have no physical beauty, and although we cannot speak like gentlemen, Lord Ramachandra has nevertheless accepted us as friends. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kupatamaham vande Sri Gurum Deenatvarinam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Ishwar. Hare Krishna, thank you very much for having me over here. I deeply appreciate the services all of you are doing. Under the leadership, inspiring leadership of Radhesham Prabhu, you're all caregivers to the next generation of devotees, the brahmacharis, and also maybe not everybody becomes a brahmachari, but the young new generation of devotees are coming into ISKCON with a lot of hope, with a lot of faith, and shraddha that yes, this is the path. This is the path I've been searching for many lifetimes. For many lifetimes, I've probably been searching for it, and finally I arrived at the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada. And I can stop my search at least now onwards, and I can just put all my faith in pursuing what Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his followers are teaching. And so you're all taking care of such wonderful people who walk into this institution and providing them care and inspiring them, guiding them. So they in turn take this movement to greater and greater heights. So I understand there's a camp not just of brahmacharis, but basically the caregivers, the first level caregivers and the leaders and the counselors. So my heartfelt, very deep gratitude to all of you that I know it's not easy as time progresses. Things are getting more complex, more challenging, and the young, the current generation, young, whatever, boys, girls, are very different from how we were 20 years back, 10 years back, or 15, 20 years back. They're a lot more chanchala. They're a lot more distracted. They're a lot more faithless. Faithless means they don't have faith on anything or anybody. So they haven't found um, any person worth emulating, worth following, or anything. So that makes your task even more challenging. So I'm extremely grateful to all of you for the kind of services you're doing. I understand you're from different parts of South India or India. Oh, great! From all over India. Because I saw some faces whom I thought came from Calcutta, so I was just wondering. So my heartiest appreciation, thanks, and if there's some way I can render some small service at any point of time, I'd only be more than willing to assist you in your mission. So in today's verse, we can see this spoken by Hanuman. This is an amazing verse. Hanuman is speaking more out of surprise, amazement, surprise. He's surprised, he's amazed, he's wonderstruck, he's awestruck. He's saying, who is Lord Ramachandra and where are we? Where do we measure up? Where do we stand? We're neither beautiful, nor are we intelligent, nor are we eloquent, nor do we have rich aristocratic birth. We live in a forest, and the Lord treats us like His friends. So Hanuman is also speaking philosophically. He says that none of these qualifications is actually a prerequisite for friendship with Lord Ramachandra. He's saying none of these qualities are prerequisites. Here he's saying, we uncivilized inhabitants of the forest have neither taken noble birth, nor do we have physical beauty, nor can we speak like gentlemen. Nevertheless, the Lord has accepted us as His friends, Sakya. The word used is Sakya. Sakya means the Lord has accepted us as His friends. The Lord accepts all the Vanaras as His friends. And this is not some sentimental, some people want to look good or want to appear good, especially, uh, uh, you know, they just want people to appreciate them, so they play act. There's no need for the Lord to do that. The Lord genuinely is extending a hand of friendship to all these Vanaras. So He's appreciating the Lord and saying that this is one of those very, very special qualities of the Lord. In fact, in Ramayana it is said that even if one does one very small act of service to the Lord will remember that. And then He will tend to ignore mistakes that we do, aparad, mistakes, faults, tend to ignore. He'll just focus on the good that you have done, the service you have done. And then the acharyas have written that the Lord will justify, saying, sometimes somebody would go and ask, oh, he's done so much nonsense, but how is it you still... And the Lord says, he's done something nice also. And the acharyas comment saying the Lord will tell them that they're all human beings. Who doesn't have faults? Everybody has faults. So I can't focus on the faults. I like the fact that He served me. He came forward. He did something. Let me just focus on it and fan the good like that. So the Lord justifies in that manner. So in reality, we have to see that these are the qualities that what are the qualities that the Lord is actually searching for? And what does it mean when we say the Lord extends the hands of friendship and extends the hand of friendship? What does it mean? How does the Lord reciprocate to someone whom He refers to as a friend? There's one small example in the Ramayana itself. So as soon as they reach the banks of Lanka, the first time that Sugriva sees Ravana is standing up there on top of the palace or top of the hill, looking down into the ocean side, the ocean beach or seashore, ocean shore or seashore. And Lord Rama has just arrived onto the seashore, and Ravana is up there and watching. So along with Rama is Sugriva, Hanuman, Angada, and so many other people all are there. And it's in the Ramayana, it's mentioned that Sugriva suddenly becomes very furious, very infuriated. He remembers that this Ravana had the courage, audacity to uh, kidnap Sita and caused so much anxiety for my Lord Ramachandra. So much anxiety, so much pain, so much misery he caused to my Lord. And somehow his feeling of uh, turns into anger, and he gets overpowered by anger at Ravana. Anger. And he's a little passionate type of an anger. And he just jumps off from there and attack. It is said that he attacks Ravana. And they have a one-to-one bout of wrestling. They're wrestling, Ravana and Sugriva. And this goes for a while because Sugriva is not any small, he's also he's also very strong personality, not quite as strong as Vali. It is said that Vali was so very strong that he could defeat Ravana very, very easily. But Sugriva was not quite as strong as that, but nevertheless, because of what he had done to Lord Rama, and he had the audacity to kidnap Sita, Sugriva goes and pounces and attacks Ravana, and they're wrestling. Both of them, they're wrestling. So in the course of this wrestling, they're slapping each other, beating each other, punching each other, hitting each other. Everything happens. And it is said that slowly Ravana is gaining the upper hand. Here, Lord Rama is perspiring out of anxiety. And then finally, before Rama could act in this matter, Sugriva finally escapes from the clutches of Lord Ravana and comes back and says, I'm going to see you tomorrow. Wait till tomorrow. This is just a sample of what we can do. Something like that, he says. He comes back to Lord Rama. And then Ramayana explains that Lord Rama waits for Sugriva to come back, embraces him. Lord Rama embraces Sugriva, and it's explained that he goes through the entire body of Sugriva just to see if he's been hurt anywhere, hurt badly. And then in a voice with great love, concern, Lord Rama is asking him, are you okay? Are you okay? Is it hurting anywhere? Are you okay? So Sugriva is feeling embarrassed, terribly embarrassed that he's now caused anxiety. He's caused anxiety for Lord Rama. So there, Lord Rama says that, how could you forget that we both have made a pact of friendship? I'm your friend, you're my friend. Couldn't you have told me that couldn't you have spoken to me? Could you have told me, informed me that this is what you want to do? And I would have told you. You caused so much anxiety. I've made a pact of friendship that I'm bound by that act of friendship to protect you, to save you. I understand your anger, but what was the need for you to do something so rash when I'm there and you're causing me so much pain and anxiety about thinking about your welfare, what Ravana would have done? Don't do this again. You don't know how much pain and anxiety this act of yours has caused me. Because I'm, that's what friendship means. I can't let you, I don't want you to go through this kind of a suffering. I'm there. If you feel so much anger, your uncontrollable anger, tell me, I'll go, but you stay. So Sugriva and all the Vanaras who are watching, standing there and watching, then they start. It's a little bewildering to see the Supreme Lord show so much care, so much love, so much concern. And in that act, the Lord is showing what someone means when the Lord declares that I'm your friend, you're my friend. So this is this is what defines the relationship, or shall we say, this is what defines friendship from the Lord's perspective. So Sugriva also becomes so stunned, and then it is said that post that incident, he was very, very careful and he was consulting Lord Rama in practically everything that happened. This also reveals the Lord's nature, the nature of wanting to be friends with anybody who's, I would say, anybody who's showing the right type of inclination also. He may not have developed all the qualities of purity or dedication, but anybody who even shows the right inclination, the Lord wants to extend a hand of reciprocation. It may be friendship, it may be even dasya bhava, But the Lord is not holding back. He's 2 steps ahead of us. He's waiting. He wants to do this. So subsequently, much later, we also see that, um, not much later, around the same time, maybe a day or two later. So Lord Rama extending a hand of friendship to Vibhishana also. When Vibhishana leaves Ravana and comes to join Lord Rama's side, Lord Rama extends a hand of friendship and says, from today onwards, I'll be very happy to, I'll be honored to have someone like you as a friend. And to make his intention absolutely clear that, more or less at the same time at which Lord Rama accepts Vibhishana, Lord Rama performs a coronation ceremony right there on the banks of on the shore of the ocean, and declares that Vibhishana, you will be the next king, not me. Or, yeah, I'm not coming here because I want to occupy Lanka or something. I'm not an imperialist. I'm not coming here to occupy. Lanka is yours, your brother. So I'm performing the coronation ceremony publicly here in front of everybody. So everybody knows that this kingdom will be yours. And so he becomes a king, and Lord Rama is also king of Ayodhya. So in one sense, they become peers. But of course, it's a different matter that neither Sugriva, nor Vibhishana, nor Hanuman, nor the Vanaras treat the Lord as a friend. They're seeing that the Lord is extending a hand of friendship, not just Dasya Baba, Sakya. But it's not that they now start thinking that, okay, the Lord is my friend and so we're equals. No, they don't. Neither Vibhishana, nor Sugriva, nor Hanuman, nor the Vanaras feel like that. They always understand he is the Supreme Lord and we are his. We should become his trustworthy, dependable servants. His trustworthy, dependable, ever available. That means it's not that I come at 8 and then I log out at 5 or whatever. Ever dependable, always available servant of the Supreme Lord. It's not that now I'm friendship, so we are equals, and so I look for equal privileges, etc. No, they're not under any illusion. They're saying this is the magnanimity of the Lord, that He's extending a hand of friendship to even insignificant creatures like us. Absolutely insignificant. But they're saying actually what happens when the Lord extends hands of friendship, even to the Vanaras, is they become even more obliged, even more dedicated, even more surrendered, even more, what shall we say, offer themselves even more unconditionally for the pleasure and service of the Lord. So that is how the Vanaras and Hanuman and Sugriva and Vibhishana reciprocate towards Lord Rama. They're stunned. They're so surprised that someone can be as magnanimous as this, as so wholeheartedly Actually, the Lord is also in many ways a personification of spontaneous, loving, mood of reciprocation the Lord has. So you go there with him in that kind of a mood, and the Lord is so happily, heartily, open-heartedly welcome. You say, okay, we're all together, we're friends, like that, and extending that kind of a mood. He's not demanding, okay, now you're all servants. So, no, we don't see the Lord demanding. We never see the Lord demanding that. We see the devotees voluntarily offering that bhava of seva to the Lord. We don't see the Lord demanding. It's the devotees out of love, out of falling helplessly in love with the qualities of the Lord, helplessly in love, offering themselves unconditionally in the service of the Lord. They're saying, how can we miss this opportunity? Look at, how will we get this again? This is what we've been praying for millions of lifetimes, to get a chance to be recognized or counted as one of the servants of the Lord. Now, it's a different matter that the Lord may look at me as a friend, but that's not what I'm very happy doing service, unconditional service. So every time they see these beautiful qualities of the Lord, like the Lord's dealing with Sugriva, they say, let's do everything possible within our might to reunite Lord Rama with Sita as quickly as possible. Even if that means causing inconvenience at the risk of our life, maybe we may have to die in the process of fighting Ravana and his army, we're ready to do that. It's the devotees who become a help, like the gopis of Vrindavan, they just land up in the forest in the middle of the night, and Krishna is taunting them. He's saying, you're all married? Many of you have children, you have husbands. How come you'll end up here, middle of the night? Uh, to meet me? Is that proper? Are you okay? Is that correct? Etc. But they're helpless. They're saying, the moment we hear this sound of the flute, we don't know what happens to us. We just don't know what happens. We just drop doing everything else we're doing and come running to you. And now when we come to you, you're taunting us like this. But that's not going to make us go away. We're going to stay. Because we are here and you're there just seeing us mesmerize. So the Lord, which is what we mean when we say the Lord is all attractive. Even when he extends a hand of friendship, his attractiveness actually becomes magnified, because along with friendship we see the Lord's magnanimity. Actually, it would be wrong to say that the Lord is trying to be magnanimous. Okay, you're not qualified, so nevertheless I'm large-hearted. So you know what I mean? You're not qualified, you don't deserve this, but nevertheless I'm giving you. That's an attitude of a rich man wants to give out favors. No, the Lord is not like that. He's not duplicitous. He actually loves. He actually loves, he cares, he is concerned. And these feelings of the Lord are genuine, are genuine. It's not that, okay, I'm rich, so I know you, okay, take it. No, that's not the way in which the Lord is dealing. The Lord deals with everybody. Like, for example, in the Valmiki Ramayana, it is said that when Lord Ramachandra used to be in Ayodhya, one time a conversation, when Dasharatha said that I'm going to coronate Lord Rama as the crown prince, and he says that, what do you think? Is that a good decision? In his palace, in his sabha, he asks this question. Everybody says, yeah, Haribol, Jai Shri Ram, very good, we're thrilled. It's the best decision you've done. It's the greatest decision you've ever made to make Lord Ramachandra as the crown prince. Then Dasharatha plays a small trick. He says, really? You're also happy that Lord Ramachandra will become the king and in due course of time become the king, and I'm going to declare he's the crown prince right now. So all of them say in one unison, everybody raises their hands and say, yes, we are very happy. We're thrilled, waiting for this. We've been praying for this moment. And Dasharatha spins, googly in a manner of speaking. He says, so what? So you've not been very happy under me? So then everybody is stunned for a moment by Dasharatha's twist. So then it remains that at that point of time, Vashishta comes forward and then he explains that, no, it's not that we don't like you, or you've been anything other than a perfect king. We've never felt that any inadequacy in the way you've taken care of us. The truth is, you've taken care of us like a loving father. We felt perfectly protected, very pleased, very happy, very joyful, and we liked everything that you did and you've done for us so far. But nevertheless, the fact remains that Lord Ramachandra is probably in many ways, it's one of your glories that you have a son like Lord Ramachandra. So he turns it around and says, it's your glory. It's amazing to have a son like that. I'm sure you're proud, you're happy to have a son like that, and then leave this kingdom in his worthy hands. Then Dasharatha will ask, oh, really? You think Lord Rama will make a better king than me, or something like that? He says, then no, it's not a question of who's a better king, who's not a better king. But Lord Rama has won the heart of everybody in Ayodhya in a much more deeper, profound way than anybody else can possibly do, because it's not possible to win the hearts of anybody in the manner in which Lord Rama has done. Then Dasharatha says, so why don't you explain what you mean by that? And then Vashishta says that, if you were to go and ask all the mothers of Ayodhya, I've said this a few times, go ask all the mothers of Ayodhya, they will say Rama is their first son, the sweet eldest son, first son, their dearest son. All the mothers of Ayodhya will say this. If they ask about you, they'll probably say, we like him as a king, he's great, he's a nice protector, he's wonderful, etc. But they will say something else about Lord Rama, they'll say he's like our eldest son in the family, my dearest son. If you were to ask all the gurus and rishis and munis and sadhus who are running gurukuls or whatever, they will say, Lord Ramachandra is my best disciple. Is my best disciple. So if you were to ask people of his age group, they will say, Lord Ramachandra is my best friend, my most trusted, most well-wishing friend. Now, that's not very easy to achieve. Your son has achieved. Your son has achieved this. So, this Lord has this because of his loving disposition towards devotees, because of his loving, unconditionally loving disposition. Actually, he has unconditionally loving disposition towards all the living entities, because the Lord does not discriminate. This is another quality of the Lord, doesn't discriminate. But it so happens that because there are some who have already begun a relationship with the Lord of appreciating the qualities of the Lord or the Leela of the Lord, and watching carefully, like Vashishta, he said, like the mothers of Ayodhya, they said, he's like my eldest son, my dearest son. When I have any problem or whatever, I first reach out to him, and he is there for me. He's there for me. So it's not just base, it's not just sentiment. It is when Hanuman and the Vanaras are speaking about the Lord, it is highlighting certain qualities of the Lord by which he becomes all attractive. So the phrase Prabhupada uses is all attractive. That means nobody can attract us as much as the Lord can, provided we learn we learn about him as things come down in the parampara. Otherwise we miss out. We just miss out. I don't know how it happens. It's the same literature that you're reading, I'm reading, and some non-devotees no touch with the parampara. But it affects us in a very different manner in which, because we have accepted a parampara. And for the other non-devotees, maybe it's just some academic thing of interest which they analyze and say, oh, how was it different from Akbar, for instance? People like Akbar also. Some crazy thing like that they will say. I don't even want to mention that. But for devotees, it's different. It's very different. We start thinking, my God, I don't know whom to thank. Prabhupada, I have to thank my Guru, my Prabhupada, the scriptures, for having placed me at the lotus feet of this parampara or the Vaishnava, so I can know about this person called the Supreme Lord Krishna or Rama. I should be grateful. And by the way, the scriptures also say that a living entity will continue to search, like we search for water in a desert. Will continue to search until they reach the lotus feet of Krishna. That search is not complete. That search is complete because that's the constitutional position of the Lord and the servant of the Lord as well. The constitutional position of the Lord is to be favorably, lovingly be attached with all these living entities. That's the constitutional position of the Lord. The Lord also feels as much uneasy about certain living entities having escaped as much as the living entities feel. The Lord is also waiting. Prabhupada says this a few times. Very powerfully he says the Lord is waiting. And anybody who does this task of bringing the living entities back to Krishna, back to the lotus feet, will be directly blessed and protected. Prabhupada says these very remarkable statements. He says, because the Lord also is in some way hankering, waiting. When will we come back? When will we go back to him? And how I can, in one sense of the term, we can say that the Lord also feels that, okay, now this living entity is properly situated with respect to his relationship with me, either Sakya or Dasya or whatever. The Lord also feels very, very satisfied. And then, like I said, it is not that the Lord is putting on a quality of magnanimity. The Lord is like that. The Lord is like that. So, okay, then what does it mean to say that the Lord is magnanimous? The Lord is like that. He has unconditional, infinite love for all the living entities. He's not putting on. So what does we mean when we say the Lord is sometimes, we refer to him as being magnanimous? See, that quality of the Lord we can see in the Lord accommodating imperfections or some faults or some mistakes in the life of the devotee, aspiring devotee. He may do some mistakes. He may do some faults. He may have fall downs. He may have difficulty in in his daily sadhana, whatever he has some problem. He's not been able to get over it yet. That is the meaning of magnanimity. The Lord overlooks such faults. Overlooks. Because the thick bonding between the Lord and living entity is one of love. The Lord overlooks and says, yes, doesn't matter. Let's wait. He will reform. Let him carry on with his sadhana. I don't want to punish him. I don't want to place all the mistakes and other things on an equal level as his service. There's something else. It will take care of itself. So it will take care of itself. It will correct itself. Over a period of time, he'll get better and better. So the Lord excuses. That is the meaning of magnanimity. Magnanimity means when I have a good reason to punish, I still don't. When I have a good reason to chastise or punish or whatever, I still don't. I said, give it some time. Let's wait. Let's hope. Let the living entity realize. But the Lord, it's also said, very lovingly corrects whenever it is required. Whenever it is required. So these are the qualities that the Lord intrinsically has. And that's what showed up in his dealings with Sugriva. He says, why did you do this? I just called you here to assist me. And I'll stay in front when there's danger. You just be behind me. I'm very concerned that I don't want to expose you to risks. That's not what I called you here for. I will take the risk. I will be in the front. I will be in the forefront. You just assist and support me. And by the way, the scriptures also say that the Lord can do on his own. At one time in the Ramayana, the Lord declares, I don't need anybody. Because when Vibhishana wants to switch sides, out of great caution, actually in that conversation also, Sugriva disagrees with Lord Rama. Sugriva tells Lord Rama that, no, don't take Vibhishana without testing him. Without testing him, don't accept him. He may be genuine. He may have genuinely come out of bitterness or whatever towards Ravana, and it may be a genuine change of heart. No, I can't say genuine change of heart. Vibhishana is Vibhishana. He was always a righteous person. And he found out of helplessness, now it's too late. He can't change Ravana, so he's abandoned Ravana and he's come here for good. Not because he wants to take advantage of becoming close or establishing proximity with Lord Rama before the war. That's not his intention. He's come more to surrender, saying, I did my best, now I'm giving up. If what I'm doing is wrong, don't accept me. If what I'm doing is right, you accept me. It's not to derive benefit. I've come here to surrender and report my case, saying I tried. Till the last moment, I tried to reform this guy, tell this guy, Ravana, what he's done is wrong. You shouldn't do this. It's not expected of a king, etc. Sugriva disagrees and says, first you test him. And the Lord Ramchandra says something very, very amazing. Because Lord Ramchandra gives everybody a chance to speak. Angada says something. Lakshmana says something. Hanuman says something. Sugriva also says something. He asks everyone to give their opinion. And finally, the Lord sums it up. And when he sums it up, Lord says something about Sugriva. He points out something about Sugriva and says that I can understand that you are not enthusiastic about accepting Vibhishana without testing him. Out of your love for me, out of your concern for me, out of your affection for me, out of a deep sense of fear and concern and anxiety for my safety. You don't want me to be exposed to unnecessary risk just before the battle starts. You don't want me to take that risk. And I consider it a very rare privilege and honor to have someone like you as a friend. The Lord tells this to Sugriva. That you're demonstrating so much love, care, concern, and affection and fear that something may go wrong. Who knows? What if he's an agent of of Ravana? What if he turns out to be an agent out of that concern? But by the way, let me assure you that even if Vibhishana or Ravana or everybody in the universe turns against me, I can, I have, I have it with. I mean, he says one of those rare statements where he invokes or reveals his real identity. He says, nobody can match what I can do. But the point here is that the Lord says to Sugriva, I'm so deeply touched by this gesture of yours, and I think it's a privilege to have you as my friend. You can imagine how, I mean, so, I mean, I'm not saying that now we go and stand in front of the deities and start giving advice to the deities how you should manage this world. No, no, we are servants. Comes down in the parampara, we execute what we are asked to do. But the fact is, these scriptures reveal certain things that are that that's why we say we read the scriptures. We have to read the scriptures, hear from the bona fide authorities or whatever, from Srila Prabhupada and the parampara acharyas. We have to hear from them, and then we realize that what is the position? How does the Lord look at us? Whether we are servants or friends or whatever, how does the Lord look at devotees? So that's how the Lord appreciates Sugriva and then accepts Vibhishana. And then he says, okay, Vibhishana, you're like my friend now. And then he coronates Vibhishana almost immediately and says, you'll be the king. And from that point of time onwards, wherever Vibhishana comes, you can see the Lord is asking him for his opinion. Can you tell us how do we deal with this? Especially in the case of slaying of Indrajit. The Lord calls Vibhishana and asks him. He's turning out to be a big obstacle. Do you have any idea how to handle him? How to deal with him? Can you make some suggestions? Because we need to deal with him before I deal with Ravana. The Lord is asking. And Vibhishana says, my dear Lord, if I've always been wanting to become of some value, some service to you. Something I came here to be of some service to you. So whatever I know of Indrajit, I will share with you, I will tell you, etc. And that's how they make a plan how to deal with Indrajit. And the Lord tells Vibhishana, you also go along with Lakshmana when he's dealing with Indrajit. I feel secure that if you are there, then no harm will come on Lakshmana. Because he's a formidable foe, enemy. So, every time the Lord says something, it's an expression of his love for the living entities, of his care, of his of his appreciation of the devotees also. Here Prabhupada makes a reference to, so the point is that the first and the foremost qualities, the set of qualities that attract the Lord are what Hanuman is talking about. Is not it's not eloquence, it's not panditya, it's not beauty, it is not great birth, it is not even strength, it is not even, because all of this the Lord can give to his friends, to those who want to serve him. All of these the Lord provides. Eloquence, strength, wisdom, knowledge, forgetfulness, everything, wealth, success, everything the Lord provides. So what is it that the Lord is looking for? So in the conversation that happens, so we can see that among the set of qualities that attract the Lord's attention, when someone is um, um, you know, we technically normally use the word surrender, but when someone's life or every decision, I mean, he doesn't make any decision actually. The Guru makes decisions for him and he just implements. Yes, someone becomes an implementer of the decisions of the Vaishnavas and the Guru. He becomes the implementer. And that's not to say that he cannot talk, he cannot speak, or he cannot. Yeah, like the Lord asks Sugriva, the Lord asks Vibhishana, the Lord asks many people at various points of time, what should we do? How should we proceed? The Lord asks Hanuman. So someone who voluntarily, happily, enthusiastically becomes an implementer of the decisions, happily. The Lord is looking for something like that. Someone who does not have any preference other than the decision of his Guru. any preference other than, any choice other than the decision of his guru or whatever his authority in his life. Someone whose life is like that, whatever I do, I I will do as per the instructions. As I'm not saying we become dumb. No, that's none of the Lord's followers are like that. There is a discussion. There are talk. I mean, then finally the Lord decides, and like that, the gurus and Vaishnavas decide. We just follow. We just follow. So, someone whose life is a life of understanding that there's a difference between an ordinary servant and an implementer servant. I'm just an implementer. Whatever the Lord wants, whatever my guru says, I'm very happy to do it. And that's all I will do. And that's my world. It begins with implementing my guru's decision, ends like that. That's my world. I live in that world of my seva to my whatever, my guru, my authority, etc. That's my world. It begins there, ends there also. I really don't know what's, I don't know. I don't know. Not that I don't know. I don't see any need to make any other plans other than become a servant of my guru. I don't see any need. I like to live like that. Someone who has this quality, the Lord looks for that kind of a quality in living entities. Someone who's constantly asking himself, can I become a better servant? Is there a way of becoming a better servant? A more selfless, humble, unconditionally surrendered servant. Is there a way of becoming? How do I become? Who is a role model here? Is Hanuman? I mean, Hanuman is too exalted. We can't. Nevertheless, the scriptures mention these examples so that we always have these as our benchmarks and reference points. So, is there a bit? Can I become a better, more trustworthy, dependent servant of my Guru Krishna and Vaishnavas? Can I become a more unconditional servant? So this is the constant. This is exactly what the Lord is looking for. Everything else He will provide. Everything else that we need in order to execute the instructions of the Guru, Krishna will provide. Krishna becomes very happy to see devotees like that. Krishna provides intelligence. Krishna provides strength. Krishna provides good fortune. Krishna protects. Not just all of this. Krishna also protects. And what do we mean by saying protection? Protection means not, I mean, it's not just that he protects you from the kinds of the Ravanas or the Asuras. Krishna protects you from thinking about anything else other than this. You understand? I don't know if I'm getting the point across. So the Krishna protects you means protects your mind from protects your mind from any form of contamination, which tells you that this is not the way to live. Any form of contamination. Krishna protects you. That actually is a much higher protection than anything. That's protection that, okay, like for example, Prabhupada also refers to Kolavecha Sridhar. Kolavecha Sridhar was called when the Lord Chaitanya performed his Sat Prahara Bhava stage, Leela, in Srivas Thakura's house. That means 21 hours he revealed his real identity as that of the Supreme Lord. The Lord blesses Kolavecha Sridhar by showing him the Shadbhuj form. He says, take it. This, it never occurred to you that I am that Supreme Lord. I kept telling you, this Ganga that you worship comes from my lotus feet. I mean, because of eye touch. And then when I said that first time, you closed your ears and said, oh, Vishnu, Vishnu, Vishnu. What kind of a blasphemy you're doing? When Kolavecha told this to Lord Chaitanya. So Lord Chaitanya shows his 6-round form and says, see, I'm that same personality. I'm just showing this form to you, just to instill that faith in you. I'm that same personality. So, and there the Lord asks, why don't you take some blessing? And the Lord offers him Ashta Siddhis. The Lord offers Kolavecha Sridhar Ashta Siddhis and says, take any of them or all of them. Any of them or all of them. I'm so happy to give you. You've been such an amazing devotee. Actually, the Lord has Kolavecha Sridhar brought to him. Kolavecha Sridhar was living in his Angan, and it is said that he would chant the names of the Lord so intensely that it was very difficult to find out in the night whether he was chanting and crying or crying and chanting. I mean, just couldn't figure out what is. The neighbors used to think What kind of a person? Is he mad or something? And somebody would say, no, he's not mad, but he's dying out of hunger. He's so poor that he doesn't have money to eat. So maybe he's crying out of hunger in the night. They just couldn't get, they couldn't fathom out Kulavich Sridhar's ecstasy that he was experiencing by chanting the names of the Lord. Ecstasy that he was experiencing because of his purity, because of his simplicity and purity of wanting to serve the Lord or whatever, and do the Ganga Puja with, like that. So the Lord has him brought to Shiva Sangan's house, and then the Lord says, now you take Ashtasiddhis, one Siddhi, all the 8 together also. And we're so happy to give you, take something from me. Kulavich says, no, I don't want anything. And then finally the Lord insists, and Kulavich says, if at all you really wish to give me, and give me this boon that I stay as your servant, I always serve you in some capacity. You always will come to me and haggle with me and quarrel with me, and while you buy the bananas and banana, whatever products. And then Kulavich Sridhar says, my dear Lord, I'm sure you can grant this boon to me. Wherever you go, whichever incarnation you take, wherever you go, whatever Leela you do, please take me along with you and place me in such a position where I'm always constantly providing you something, giving you something, not taking anything from you. Place me in a position where I'm serving you, giving you something. Like in this lifetime, I'm giving you bananas. Let me always be in a position where I'm providing you something, giving you something. You can imagine how glorious Lord Chaitanya would have felt about this devotee. How satisfied the Lord would have felt about this perfect situation, perfect, perfectly situated devotee. How happy the Lord, how happy the whole assembly of Vaishnavas would have felt. It is said at that time even the Devatas were all watching, because the Lord was displaying his Shadbhuj form, etc. And all of them together chant Hari Bol and bless Kulavicha Sridhar and say, you have achieved the highest form of perfection a devotee can ever aspire for. That in a blemishless manner, you're in a way that only you can do. You've come here when the Lord is offering so many, you've just turned back and said, I don't want anything. That's all I want. So the Lord is looking for that also. He's saying, are you willing to be an executor? Are you willing to be uh, um, um, like Kulavicha Sridhar, are you willing to play that role of assisting me in whatever role, in whatever capacity, in whatever form I may want, that may be pleasing to me? I'm willing to do that. So this is what Hanuman and the Vanaras are saying, that it's not eloquence, it is not scholarship, it is not anything else, except that this pristine, sublime mood of wanting to serve, wanting to be a unconditional executor of the wish and the will of the Lord, to be ever available in the service of the Lord, to be unconditionally available in the service of the Lord, to be joyfully available in the service of the Lord, and to have no other plan for today or tomorrow, next life, the life after nothing. I am thinking about now and present. Now I live in the present, I live in the now. Now I want to do this. The next moment I want to do the same thing again. Just want to continue being what I want, what I'm doing right now. So this is the mood of this verse. So the Lord Prabhupada is also amplifying that. Look at Kolavecha Sridhar. Look at him, how he won a permanent place in the heart of Lord Chaitanya. How the Vanaras won a heart in the place. And we also know now what it means to say that the Lord is magnanimous. The Lord is lovingly disposed. Magnanimity refers to the fact that the Lord will excuse, wait, tolerate, encourage, and wait for you to turn around. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Ram Krishna. Thank you very much. Some questions? We have time or?
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Bhai. Thank you for such a beautiful class. Yeah, especially it was very touching to say when we were concluding, saying that how the only aspiration if the devotee has is just trying to be the servant, and especially taking the present, keeping in the present and always trying to have that mood of being a servant of our masters. So my question is that when we hear from the scriptures, and you also beautifully explaining, so this is what we also want to develop, this sacredness of the relationship between the disciple and guru, or subordinate and superiors. This is what we are aspiring. But and you also mentioned that God protects any other kind of contamination. But in the course of like when we not serving, and I mean the domain of services may be increasing. In that case, there is always a kind of fear that because there are other bijas also, other contamination which is there lying, that may also eventually may grow, and there is some kind of fear that we should not lose that sacredness of our this of course we may not be living also so much right now also, but still we want to see that we go in the right direction, and rather that sacredness of the relationship actually grows more. That should happen, not the other way. If you can just help more in that direction.
Um, See, basically, as long as we are in a very with faith and humility, accept that there are some corrections that are required in my whatever, in my thinking, talking, basically in my value system. That is what manifests as action and words. So, in my values, in my in the level of my internal purity or whatever. So, as long as we accept that I need to be corrected, and as long as we pray that, my dear Lord, I'm very anxious to become a better devotee. I know there's a long way to go, and then so many corrections have to be done. There's nothing wrong in saying, my dear Lord, please do it in such a way that I can take it. There's nothing wrong in praying like that. I can take it. I can tolerate it. Don't make it too painful for me. Personally, I think there's nothing wrong in praying. The Lord loves you. And it's like, it's like you're still in a platform where you can be corrected. See, the moment we cross that and start reacting when someone is trying to tell us or guide us or share experiences and tell us, and we cross the line and start saying, why does he have to do it? As if he's perfect. Your mind triggers. The first thing is that trigger comes saying, as if he's perfect. I see what I see him. He also has faults. He's also been angry. Different things. That may not be a right thing to happen. He is angry, Krishna will take care, and he has someone else above him that the Lord will mercifully take care, and the Lord will take care of just as much as he takes care of everybody's spiritual life in terms of their eagerness to be corrected, in terms of their willingness and eagerness to be corrected. Lord will take care of everybody. But we have to be in that mood that if the correction comes by, we should be grateful. We should be grateful to everybody who's having, and like I told you, there's nothing wrong in requesting the Lord, please make that happen, in a manner that's not very painful and embarrassing for me. I will learn, my Lord. But see, the point is that when the Lord teaches, shows, and we are recalcitrant and we don't change, and maybe the Lord will take the next step because he loves you and doesn't want you to mess up your life. So as long as we are willing to stay at, at the lotus feet of some authority or somebody with whom we have faith, we need to have faith on someone, and then we are willing to be corrected. We are okay to be corrected. We are anxious to be corrected because we want to serve the Lord in a manner in which he's pleased. He's genuinely pleased. So we are safe. So there may be imperfections, there may be faults, but as long the biggest fault is not willing to be corrected, not willing to hear, not willing to be corrected, not willing to accept, and becoming rebellious, pointing out faults of those who are trying to help us. That would be risky. That would be risky. As long as you're willing to take correction, then by the mercy of the Lord and Vaishnavas, you can overcome um, whatever contaminations you have as a devotee, because chanting is powerful, sadhana is powerful, reading is powerful, serving is the most powerful. Serving the Vaishnavas, serving the Guru is very, very powerful. So that kind of takes care. But like I said, the problem is when you don't want, when in some form or other you're rebelling against someone trying to help you or correct you. That is something you should watch out for. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Proji. Very inspirational class. Proji, we are mentioning that just become the implementer of the decision of Vaishnava in Lord. So now, while serving, we have as an individual, we have some desire to serve in particular way or some particular type of service. And at the same time, we are not pure to directly implement what the authority says, Guru says. So I understand that I have to implement that and I have to just obey. But my mind and because of my anartha, that is not sinking in my mind, whole consciousness. So I want to understand, I want to implement, and I am implementing also. But mind is boggling because it is not pure. So what we have to do to?
You see, nothing wrong in talking to your colleagues and your whomever you're taking instructions from, saying, I have an inclination for that type of service. What should I do? I have an inclination for that type of service. I want to do this. I want to do this in this manner. Nothing wrong. You can talk. But at some point of time, you have to understand that it's like children want to play, and sometimes the parents overrule, sometimes the parents yield, sometimes the parents overrule because they know what's good, what's not good. They're well wishers. So there's nothing wrong in wanting to do something a little differently. Actually, Prabhupada gave that kind of a freedom to everybody, every living entity, every leader in ISKCON, every person saying, this is what I want you to achieve. You have any difficulty, come back to me. But in terms of how you want to do it, it's pretty much your show. You develop, you tell, you try, you come back to me, and then maybe I'll share my experiences. Personally, my experience in ISKCON is that kind of opens up as you develop some maturity. After 1 or 2 years, people will actually start talking to you and asking, what do you think? Is this the right way of doing? Is this, can you do like that? People tend to give guidelines, share experiences. After that, they allow you to experiment a little bit. So, but if sometimes for some reason which you are not able to understand, the Lord says, no, you don't do it. Don't do it this way. You just follow. For now, you just follow. And also, we should have the maturity to accept, because we have to understand that, okay, you may suspect the person who's instructing you. You may suspect his intentions, his motivations. Maybe he doesn't like me or whatever. But you should understand that over and above him, there's Krishna. And Krishna is my well-wisher. You should have that faith. You understand what I'm saying? Maybe the person who's dealing with you doesn't like you. He has biased against you. He has some whatever grudge, something against you. Maybe he's ill-treating you. Maybe he's not doing you. Maybe he's not being fair. But still, you can continue to work under him, because over and above him is Krishna. At some point of time, Krishna will interfere. Definitely, he'll interfere. He will, in order to protect both the people. Maybe he'll separate the two of you, or whatever. In order to protect both, Krishna cares as much for you as he cares for the person who's acting in a little immature way. Krishna cares for both of you. We are not capable of showing that kind of a large-hearted magnanimity. Krishna is, because he loves each one of us. So Krishna may separate, Krishna may find his own fix. And sometimes very fascinating to wait and watch how Krishna fixes problems. In 30 years' time, we see many things. So it's very fascinating to see how Krishna acts and rescues both the devotees. They don't have to worry so much. Nothing wrong in asking, nothing wrong in discussing, nothing wrong in putting your point, saying, can I do it like this, Prabhu? My inclination, my talent, whatever. I've studied like this. Is this okay? But if the Lord, for some reason says, no, it doesn't matter. It may not work out this time. Work like this. You should have faith in Krishna, saying, Krishna wants me to work like that for some reason. Let me try it out. It's not just a question. It's a question of how deep is your faith in Krishna. How deep is your faith that Krishna is my well-wisher, Krishna is Surudam Sarvabhutanam. Krishna cares as much for him as he cares for me. And I just have to wait. Krishna will act. Good question. Yeah, anybody else or will? Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Guruji. Very, very great.
Did I answer your question?
We're very grateful to you for bringing out such tender emotions of depths of hearts of Lord as well as his devotees and their perceptions about each other. Thank you so much for that. My question is about you said that one who happily voluntarily gives himself. That that is something which is Lord is pleased with actually.
Correct.
So yesterday also Radheshampu was telling about how Devahuti did that to Kardama.
Who was saying yesterday?
Yesterday is in Bhagavatam class.
Who gave the class?
Radheshampu was speaking yesterday. Something
Yeah, I heard you briefly.
emotion
I logged in for a while.
of Devahuti towards Kardama. So my question is, because of impurity and conditioning, there is a difficulty in accepting and giving fully. There is some reservation when it comes to, like, Kardama is already, she is already attracted to Kardama before on. It's already there. So when it comes to spiritual master directly, we may say
Can you turn off that light?
by name that I can give fully, but when it comes to the devotees,
There, the switch at the bottom. Yeah.
who are representing spiritual master, there is some kind of reservation because of already you answered that lack of faith. But if you want to say something more, that how we can do that fully, to not just practically.
You see, this is a very profound question because it calls for a certain amount of purity even in the heart of the person who is guiding. Certain amount of non-envious nature in the heart of the person who's guiding. Transparency, non-enviousness, and genuinely is that person overflowing with affection for everybody. Affection for everybody who's serving with him, along with him. Is he very affectionate? So these are also qualities that we have to, inculcate among those who are playing the role of a caretaker, care provider. If you have these qualities, you pray and you get these qualities and you're blessed with these qualities, you'll see that people around you will trust you. You're transparent, you're fair, you're very affectionate, you're tolerant. Do unto others what you would want others to do unto you. That means if you were to do a mistake, how would you like to be treated? Treat others also in that way. Accept the reality that there will be imperfections and faults. There will be difficulties. There will be difficult moments. There will be slips. There will be whatever accidents. There will be. What are we in front of I mean, I can speak for myself. We're overloaded with imperfections. So accept the reality that I was also a demon at some point of time, and it's because someone showed that affection and faith and trust in me. Maybe a few inches have come forward. So this is two ways. The person who's instructing, guiding also should have these qualities. Then people around him will like him and trust him. If he likes, not automatically liking will be reciprocated by like. You like what you're doing. You like the people who are working with. You love them. You care for them. You want all of them to grow. You want all of them primarily to be happily situated in spiritual life. Doesn't matter some imperfections. Over a period of time, it will get corrected. That is on the part of those who are guiding and inspiring and correcting. But on the part of those who are receiving this correction, see, nobody is saying you should be deaf, dumb, and blind. That's not what Prabhupada is saying. That's not what ISKCON wants you to say. That you completely become oblivious to any visible faults, whatever in the people whom you're guiding. So if you have a problem and you think the person, then there's always some other person you can check with. Prabhu, I feel like this is what I went to him for, and this the way he reacted, etc. So I'm feeling uncomfortable. What should I do about it? You can ask. You can definitely ask. And we should be patient. It cannot, that kind of questioning cannot be because of what should I say? Because of your own grudge or envy or something like that. Why he should be the leader and why not me? Or okay, let's presume that it's because of grudge and envy also. Even then, better verify with somebody else. Prabhu, I feel like this. I'm feeling uneasy. I feel this is what's happening. What should I do? Always verify. Always verify, because the mind can trick us, the mind can cheat us, mind can play games with us. Provided we have even traces of envy or anger or grudge, mind can play a lot of tricks on us. Always verify. Then somebody else will tell you, no. It's possibly because you have had a bad experience with him that anything that he does, you're looking at it in that way. Or actually, it's fair. Always verify. You can't do it. It's too embarrassing. Go to Prabhupada, pray. What can you do? Better is verify, because you go to Prabhupada and then something pops up in your mind, you'll say, no, Prabhupada told me or Prabhupada inspired me. That would be even more risky. Verify with somebody. See, the point I want to make is have faith in the process, need not be individuals. Have faith in the process. The process says, have faith in the person who's guiding you. Do it nicely, because Krishna is there over and above everything else that's happening. Krishna is watching very carefully, watchfully. Krishna is watching. Have faith in the process. Have faith in Prabhupada. And then you'll see that Krishna will guide you. Krishna will come to your rescue. I mean, we all were taught a particular type of thing about this kind of mood when we were at Madhu Pandit, but then at some point of time, Bangalore Temple, everybody started becoming uneasy with his philosophy and all that. But the first 6 months to 1 year, we continued. We believed what he was saying. We thought this big revolutionary change is going to come about in ISKCON and good for ISKCON and this and that. That's what we believed. But over a period of time, we started getting uneasy, because the first 6 month to 9 months phase was because we had that faith in him, because he seemed to be doing everything correctly, built a beautiful temple, nice classes, very pakka sadhana, everything was so correct on the surface of it, superficially. So we continued to have faith. We thought, okay, Krishna inspired, maybe Prabhupada inspired, maybe change has to come in ISKCON. But then after a period of time, then we started seeing, hey, no, this is not what I thought. There's something else. There's something else. Something else is the agenda. Then we verified. I went to Banamana. Then like that, you have to verify. You can't see, if you are putting blind, unconditional faith, you have nobody to blame except yourself. You can't blame anybody. And you see, in Kali Yuga, there's no such thing as absolute faith on another human being. Very risky. I don't know. This is my understanding. You can't. You put absolute, unconditional, unquestioned faith in somebody, you're responsible. That's not what Prabhupada wants you to do. Prabhupada says, go to the GBC, go somewhere, talk, discuss, but at the same time, have faith in the process. Prabhupada says, no, my GBC is like this. Prabhupada, right? But just be under him, wait. Don't jump like a hot potato or whatever, cat on a hot tin roof, they say. Don't jump like that, wait. But when there are indications that something is seriously wrong and you don't act on it, then you're only yourself to blame. Something is seriously wrong, you need to ask that you need to ask tough questions, and you need to be ready for answers. Don't do both the mistakes: unconditional, absolute faith, unconditional, rebellious nature. Both are wrong. Both are wrong. Okay, thank you. I think it's time for question. Okay, one more question.
Prabhuji, actually very thankful for this class, very heart touching. And I had one question, Prabhuji. You mentioned about Hare Krishna. Is it audible, Prabhuji?
Yeah.
So you mentioned about Lord Ram giving shelter to Vibhishan, and I was just wanting to check whether Lord Ram, he's a supreme personality of Godhead, so he can give shelter to anybody who can come. But when we are, let's say, we are guiding or someone or caring for someone, at that time, it's also important to evaluate our own adhikar, whether, and if we have doubt, it is also better to clarify. And in the case of even Parikshit Maharaj, when he was giving shelter to Kali, so at that time, Kali turned out to be creating mess. So in that sense, I just wanted to understand in practicality, and also whether it also deserves to know one's own capacity and adhikar while we are giving.
See, in ISKCON, typically, the higher we go, the more collective the leadership is. Collective. So we have a problem case. So if there is a problem with somebody, we generally discuss what should we do. Because like I said, if one person is left to handle and he doesn't have peers or doesn't have friends, I mean peers, there's a huge risk. So we consult, we discuss, there's a committee formed, there's bureau, there is this IDC, there is. So unilateralism is not very encouraged in ISKCON. The higher you go, more collective the leadership is. Okay. That having been said, now, as far as my personal adhikara is concerned, what do I do when I have a problem case? Someone comes up and then, should I accept him? Should I not accept him? See, we follow a simple ground rule that whenever there's a problem of this nature, even then we one or two people get involved in counseling, talking. Because let me tell you one thing. See, unfortunately, even the leaders at times can become influenced um, by some kind of anger, some kind of predisposition towards somebody. Leaders also can get influenced by that. Some kind of, sometimes because of our nature, etc., we shut out some options. We're we are very radical in some ways. We're very experimenting in some ways, etc. So better that we check with each other, check with another person, especially when we are having a problematic case that comes up. Talk to one person at least. Have two people counseling somebody. So it helps. It helps balance out, because your biases, your partiality, your don't influence the decision. And if you let your biases influence, it could be very unfair to the person who has come to you. It could be very unfair. So you talk to somebody, discuss with somebody, take somebody's advice. And very good to have that fear. That little bit of fear saying that I don't want to do a mistake. Let me verify. Leaders always have to have that. They can't be overconfident. That could be a little risky. Overconfidence, not wanting to check with peers, not wanting to discuss, not wanting to take someone's opinion before making major decisions about somebody else. Collective leadership helps. Collective leadership helps. So that is a culture that we have to adapt to. As leaders, tomorrow you'll be running temples. I don't know what else you'll be doing. I'm sure all of you will go miles ahead in your service. So it's good to have and verify, talk, have a group of people who are independent minded, little thoughtful, little intelligent, little bold, little, and people who have the courage to suggest to you. Always surround yourself with people who have the courage to suggest to you. Suggest, not rebel, suggest. Say, no, I don't think this is right. I don't think we should do that. I think we should give him another chance. I think this we should not do. I think this would be wrong. Always surround yourself with people who will open their mouth, talk. It's good as a precaution for leaders to surround yourself with people like that. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. What a marvelous class it was, isn't it, today? So, as I had promised you in the beginning of the class about Prabhuji, this is the reason we called him today. Prabhuji came from Bangalore, knowing that you all have come here today. He gives this kind of classes, not just one or two, many, many. Whenever I come to Hyderabad, I always want to make it at the time when he comes so I can hear him. One thing in this temple is every Wednesday is with Vedanta gives class. Tomorrow he'll be giving tomorrow. One thing is Prabhuji's days in Hyderabad are not exactly fixed. For 10 days in a month he comes here. But it's a kind of, every time he comes up with one or two pastimes, very deeply he will probe into the pastime, dive deeper, bring out lessons on Lord, devotee, and the loving relationship. This is his main theme always. He practically will go to Samadhi when he speaks the pastimes. He will enter into the spirit. So, and he also helps the audience to elevate their consciousness to that spiritual plane and forget the material world and material upadhis and everything. So he lives in SNGM. Any of you going to Bangalore, you can visit there. Radha Gridhari Mandir. Prabhuji is always welcoming. Also, he wants some youth beaches there. If anybody want to go and stay in SNGM and help or come to Hyderabad and hear his class, you are most welcome.
Yeah. Anybody wanting to come and stay there? Wonderful place.
And if they fell in love with him, you go and stay in SNGM.
Heartily welcome you.
Yeah. So let us thank you.
I have been negotiating with him for years now.
We have sent to Sheshadrapuram and South Bangalore. One project pending is your project. We will
Yes.
find surely in the future.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Let us thank with one loud Hare Krishna mantra.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Ram, Hare
Praise Varada Krishna Prabhu ki.
Hare.
Thank you. Also, all of you devotees came at 10:30, 11 yesterday night. Got very late because we went to see the Statue of Equality and we came to know that the buses arrived very late. You must be very tired. Despite your late night sleep, today everybody was fully awake in the class. It goes to show how sweet the class was. So, take prasad to relax. We will again come back at 12 o'clock one day. So you'll have a good time. Okay?